All right, let's dive right into one of the biggest, most heated debates in the entire car world. It's a question that really gets to the core of what it means to be a car enthusiast in this new electric age.
You've heard it a million times, right? People say EVs are brilliant. Sure, they're efficient, they're ridiculously quick, but for so many of us, they're just silent, soulless appliances. They're missing the noise, the vibration, that mechanical connection. All the stuff that makes a performance car feel, well, alive. Well, today we're putting a car under the microscope that was engineered from the ground up to tackle that exact question, the Hyundai Ioniq 5. We're going to look at its real-world road trip abilities, its durability, and then get into the main event, the high-performance N version, a car that aims to prove once and for all that electric cars can be absolutely packed with emotion.
Okay, first things first, let's just get it out of the way and smash the biggest myth out there, that EVs are only good for zipping around town and that any real road trip is a total nightmare of range anxiety and just endless charging stops.
So to put this to the test, an independent energy researcher named Ben Elliston and a buddy took on a pretty epic challenge. They drove a standard Ioniq 5 on a nearly 1,000-kilometer round trip, all in one day. I mean, that's a serious test for any car, let alone an EV.
So how much time were they just sitting around, stuck at chargers? Well, across that entire 1,000-kilometer journey, they spent a grand total of just 43 minutes charging the car. And no, that's not per stop. That is total. Because the car has this 800-volt architecture, the charging stops were crazy fast. We're talking just a few minutes here and there.
And the total time for the whole journey? Just 11 hours, start to finish. I mean, that proves that a long-distance EV trip isn't just possible, it's actually super efficient and completely practical. They drove into some of the most remote areas of New South Wales and had zero issues.
And here's the real kicker. That total charging time, it was actually less than the official recommended safety breaks a driver is supposed to take on a trip that long. Think about that. They literally spent more time grabbing coffee and stretching their legs than they did waiting for the car to charge. So yeah, myth busted. Okay, so it can handle a monster road trip. But what about the long haul? Can these complex electric machines, and especially their batteries, actually last? Let's tackle that myth of durability.
Okay, check this out. This is pretty wild. There's an Ioniq 5 owner in South Korea who uses his car for work. He managed to rack up over 660,000 kilometers in just 3 years. That's an average of 600 kilometers every single day. And get this, he did it with no major mechanical failures.
But the real question, the one everyone wants to know, is what about the battery? What happened to it after all that use? Well, Hyundai actually analyzed it at the 580,000-kilometer mark. And the result? It still held 87.7% of its original capacity. That's just remarkable, especially because the owner almost exclusively used DC fast chargers, which everyone says is supposed to be harder on the battery.
Now look, let's be real. It hasn't all been perfect. Early models had a pretty well-known issue with something called the Integrated Charging Control Unit, or ICCU. Basically, the high-voltage system was causing some of these units to fail. But Hyundai tackled this head-on with a big recall, a software fix, and updated hardware on newer models, which has drastically cut down the failure rates.
So what do the actual owners think? The people living with these cars every day? A poll on the Ioniq 5 subreddit shows that a really strong majority, 63% of them, are planning to keep their cars for 10 years or even longer. They trust the car, they trust the warranty, and they believe the core of it is built to last.
So, it's practical, it's durable, but now we get to the big one, the most important question of all, the soul. Can an electric car actually be engaging? Can it be emotional? Well, this is where the Ioniq 5N enters the chat.
First off, just look at the hardware. This is not some software gimmick. We're talking about massive 400mm brakes, lightweight 21-inch forged wheels, and super sticky Pirelli P0 tires. This car is built with serious, track-ready stuff designed for pure performance.
But this is where they really got creative and engineered the feeling. It's called NE Shift, and it simulates an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. You actually use the paddle shifters, and the car gives you that physical jolt, that kick in the back, and the power curve of a real gear change. It brings back that whole rhythm of driving a performance car that we all love. And then, of course, there's the sound. The N-Active Sound Plus system uses 10 speakers to create this incredible dynamic soundtrack that responds directly to what you're doing with the throttle and the simulated shifts. It's not just about making noise for the sake of it, it's that crucial auditory feedback that really connects you, the driver, to the machine.
Of course, you can't have all that feeling without the numbers to back it up, right? And oh boy, does this thing have the numbers. You hit the N-Grin boost button on the steering wheel and you unleash a staggering 641 horsepower.
And the result of all that? 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a blistering 3.4 seconds. I mean, that is deep into supercar territory. It's not just engineered to feel fast. It is absurdly, breathtakingly fast.
So when you put all of this together, what do you actually have? You have a car that fundamentally challenges everything we thought we knew about what an EV could be. It blends day-to-day usability with genuine, heart-pounding passion.
So, let's just recap the formula here. You've got proven practicality, thanks to that ultra-fast charging. You have proven durability, thanks to that incredible real-world data. And then the N model injects pure, raw emotion with simulated shifts and sounds, all of it backed by absolutely mind-blowing performance.
So this car doesn't just answer the question of whether an EV can have a soul. It flat out screams the answer. By engineering the sensory feedback we all thought we were going to lose, the sound, the shifts, that feeling of connection, Hyundai has crafted a completely new kind of thrill. So the question we're really left with is this a glimpse into the future of what it means to have fun behind the wheel?
Hey, thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Ioniq 5. It's been a blast exploring how engineers are finding these incredible new ways to create soul in the electric age. We'll see you on the next one.